video, audio in 3, 2, 1.
Dr. D.
One more time. 3, 2, 1.
Dr. D.
Yes, sir.
You're at the Jeremiah Show. Welcome.
I thank you for letting me in.
Thank you for letting me in.
I appreciate that.
Good to see you. We're on an odd day again today. So
Yes,
I
we are having,
that.
and unfortunately, we're having a very odd day.
Dr. D.
Yes.
No, I didn't say we're having an odd day. We're just here at the studio at an odd day. Is it not working?
Somebody
turned it off.
Putzing around again. All right.
Am I
My
on?
apologies. One more time. We'll do this again in 3, 2, 1.
Hey, Dr. D. Welcome to the Jeremiah Show.
Well, thank you. I'm glad that you unlocked the door to let me in. Does not know how to respond to that. It's good to be here. That's all I can tell you.
I think Kailee has a clip for that. She's good with the comebacks. I just lost it.
Well, it's
Kailee,
good to be here.
Did you have a comeback? What would you tell Dr. D if he told you, "Thanks for letting me in"?
I'm on the spot now. I don't know. I can't do. I have to do it spontaneously.
Yeah.
No setups.
No setups.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's got to be, and it's got to be addressed to her. Well, hey, let's get past. You're welcome for me letting you in, Dr. D.
Yes.
I thought about it.
Yeah.
Do I want him in?
Do I want him in? Do I not want him in? Do I want to do a show?
In the
do I
end,
not want to do a show?
I let you in. Here we are, talking to one of our favorite people in the world on this show. Kailee Spark is here with us.
Yeah.
So excited. We booked this interview
back in December of 2018, I believe.
This is one that really moved a lot. It moved down the calendar and down the board, but it's okay.
But my philosophy has always been the more challenging the scheduling, the better the interview. So let's get to
the interview. Let's get to Kailee Spark. I mean, she's such a fascinating, not only a great artist, but such a fascinating person. And I'm just happy that I get 40 minutes of her life here with us today. So I really do appreciate that, Kailee. I'm going to do a little intro here, and hold on a second. I lost my train of thought. Okay. Pause me. Back me up.
3, 2, 1.
No, I don't want to start from the top.
Oh, I'm starting from right here. 3, 2, 1. You're on.
So much of what makes a person who they are is left mostly unsaid, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, I know you, Dr. D, for 9 seasons, going on 10, which equals about 8 years. I've known you for quite a while. Do I know, Dr. D, who you really are? Do you know anybody that you interact with?
Well, I would say
very
that,
well.
I would say that we know each other about as well as a couple of people can, with the experiences that we've had and with I will call them the challenges that we have faced, both together and individually, that we kind of, commiserate and share back and forth. So, yeah, I would say that, and it's kind of hard not to be real in these kinds of circumstances. In other words,
I just was thinking about this.
Yeah. There's no game playing here.
I mean, I don't know. Does anybody really know me? Do I know me? So much of what makes, again, a person who they are is left mostly unsaid, and mostly unknown by those that know them throughout their life.
Yeah.
I was thinking about my parents. Did I ever really know my dad? Do I really know my mom right now? Do I have, do you know what they went through?
Yeah.
Do you ever get those stories? What we know of each other is mostly what we want other people to know, right? So rarely do we really share our true selves. Some people out there know themselves, but most of us never know who we are, again, even to ourselves. We are constantly changing. We're constantly adapting, evolving. Or maybe we've become paralyzed by life experience or our fears. Fear drives a lot of motivation. It prevents you from growth, I think, a lot. Fear, taking a chance.
It certainly can.
Taking a chance to expose yourself, to open up, to let people know you. Our growth becomes stunted sometimes. And we are stuck at the age of some personal trauma that we've been through. What we may or may not understand about ourselves, we typically won't share with those who know or love us for fear of judgment or fear of exposing our true feelings or our thoughts to another person and maybe them not getting it, maybe you not being able to express it correctly to them and it doesn't come across the way you really feel. What we may or may not understand about ourselves, we typically, like I said, won't share. That only becomes compounded and much worse in the last few years for all of us, that fear. I mean, it's harder these days to really put out there what you think, your opinion, because people shut you down. People write you off, unfollow you, unfriend you.
Yeah.
I suppose maybe that's the way it's meant to be, that we don't really share ourselves truly. After all, life has many twists and turns, and it is how we react and we get back up that is truly the real test of our character. I admire those who are seeking, who share what they can of themselves, the public, like it or not. This requires understanding yourself, I think, having a strong sense of self. It requires putting yourself out there, perhaps in harm's way, standing. I'm going to use one of Kailee Spark's songs, standing on a rock above the ocean, letting the spray hit your face. This isn't in your song, I don't think, but I'm making it up. Having that salt and that wind stinging your cheeks and throwing your phone in the ocean, which is a reference to her song. One of my favorite songs. My guest today entered my life first as a music artist on the radio show. To remind you and to remind the listener, she's been here before. Another artist friend that I really greatly admire that's been on the show, Hunter Hawkins, had her listed on her playlist, and I started listening to music and loved it and reached out to Kailee. When I interviewed and met Kailee for the first time, I knew only that probably what she wanted me to know about her fans to know about her, the listeners, her public social image. She's a singer and a songwriter who lives alone, and this is all my imagination and from what I can see behind her. She lives alone in a remote location. For all those guys out there, we're not going to give you the location. Don't ask. On the Big Island, in a home that she bought herself, spending her days writing music, creating music. She's got some with her dogs and her frogs. She loves frogs, Dr. D. And we're going to get to that later.
Okay.
So my mind is forced to fill in the missing parts of the story. I'm a fan of her music, first and foremost. I've become a fan of Kailee the person. I'm intrigued by what makes Kailee Spark tick. She really is an original. And since our first interview, we've stayed in touch. And randomly, I'll get a late night text from Kailee, nonchalantly mentioning that she is sitting in her jacuzzi with a cantaloupe. Yeah, cantaloupe.
Okay.
A slice of pizza and watching videos on YouTube.
Okay, the pizza I understand now.
Yeah,
Okay.
the pizza.
Now I get the cantaloupe. Right.
Cantaloupe, I don't know. I'm probably getting in trouble for disclosing her personal habits late at night. But I'll ask for forgiveness later.
Okay.
After she's gone. Where'd she go, Dr. D? After she drops off in the middle of a good text stream, sometimes for days, she explains that she has ADHD. I had to look it up. I knew ADD. I know I have that. But ADHD is a chronic condition including attention difficulty, hyperactivity, and impulsiveness. I think we all have that. I have that for sure.
I have DOA.
But I have a feeling that really, DOA? Dead on
Disconnected.
arrival?
Disconnected on arrival.
Disconnected. I tell her I was worried about her dropping off the planet. By the way, total transparency. Almost every girlfriend I've ever had has told me that I do that too. I'm accused of that. So I kind of get her. For days sometimes. I just don't want to talk.
Yeah.
I get it. I also get throwing your phone in the ocean or wanting to.
Yeah. Oh, I go out to the end of the wharf, Stearns Wharf.
You get there and you're almost...
You just want to... Can I hit the buoy from here? I really want to try to hit the buoy from here.
So when I say she's dropped off, she says,
Mm-hmm.
I did that? Who, me? She casually shrugs it off. I thought I replied to your question. I must have replied in my head. Sorry. Then she will send me a meme of Borat in a Speedo saying something slightly offensive, which just makes her all the more mysterious and quirky to me in a really good way. I mostly am just happy that she won't be just another statistic of a rock star drowning in a bad jacuzzi accident involving a cantaloupe, a slice of pizza, and a waterlogged iPhone. That's just Kylie.
Yeah.
Just know a little bit about her. I asked her one time if she gets lonely, and she replied no. She has her dogs, she has her frogs, she has her music. She journals and she interprets her wild, cryptic nightly dreams, and some are pretty fantastic.
You know, that sounds like the makings of a country song. Dogs, frogs, and music.
Yep.
I like it.
She has also a very loyal and strong fan base that keep
Mm,
her company online.
there you go.
Kylie is talented. You can hear that in the music. We're going to actually premiere her new single at the end of the show in its entirety. Can't wait for that, Dr. D. I probably listened to it, no joke, 25, 30 times. I love it. She's a poetic and she writes clear, powerful imagery in her lyrics. She brings them to life by magically adding harmonies and melodies. These are all at once special and beautiful at the same time. They come to her in melodic sounds of the frogs on her property and the ocean waves down the street, the quiet, and her dreams. Only she can hear them originally until they are carefully plucked from the sky or wherever they come from. They're carefully constructed, they're carefully recorded and released into the world as songs for the benefit for all of us to share and to enjoy. They are personal to her. And she hopes they will resonate with us in some special way too, like they do for her. Kylie, in my opinion, is a seeker. Kylie is a searcher. Kylie is a thinker. On a recent trip to Costa Rica with her friend, she was suddenly called home. Her father had passed away suddenly, and her father and daughter were very close. They both shared a twinkle in their eye, and they shared a dark sense of humor, mostly only that they understood. They had a special language, a special bond. Kylie is funny. I mean, really kind of wacko funny. If you get to hear a joke or one of her quips, which I'm sure we will on this show, count yourself lucky. And when I pointed this out to her that she's funny, just in case she wasn't aware that she was funny, she said to me, I know, I get it from my dad. Welcome, Kylie.
Thanks for having me, Jeremiah.
Thanks
Glad
for,
to be here.
yeah, thanks for being here. So saying all that is to say that I want to get to know you a little bit more today. And you've been through some really um, hard life experiences, and most recently, two of the hardest that you'll ever experience. You know, you lost your father, and then a few weeks later, you lost your grandmother. And I had the idea, not, I mean, we want to, obviously, you wanted to premiere the song, and we could do just another interview where it's all about the music and it's all about, you know, your success and your growth as a musician. But you know, when I love a musical artist, I always hope and I always wish that someone would actually get to know them a little bit.
Mm.
And I know we can't do that all in an hour, but I just feel like you're such a special musician and artist, and you have such uh, a great outlook on the world. You're introspective, and if we can learn about you a little bit more, I'd feel like we had a great interview, and I think everybody will just love
Mm-hmm.
Kailee Spark even more and her music even more. We're going to celebrate your father, and thank you. So I think that you're so brave to, you know, this is still new to you, I'm so grateful for you to come on and share your experience, because I think so many people out there will learn from it and your strength, and how you look at death and how you look at the life of a great man like your father, a great woman like your grandmother, who lived to how many years, by the way?
Almost 102.
Wow.
Wow.
That's great. That's so great.
Yeah.
My goal. That is my goal.
Do you mind if we get to know a little bit about your family if I ask you a few questions?
No, go ahead. Ask away. I'd be happy to
Okay.
talk about them.
Thank you. You have German ancestry, right?
Yes.
So,
Yes, my dad actually was born in Germany. And then they immigrated to Canada when my dad was around 6 or 7, I think. And then after a few years, they moved to California. But my Oma and Opa, so my Oma was a nurse during the war, during World War II. And she met my Opa because he had been a soldier, and his tank that he was in was blown up and everybody died except for him, and he was seriously injured. And so they sent him to the hospital, and she cared for him for quite a long time. My camera went away. And I think there is something like they got into kind of some arguments because as he started to get better, he would go to the forest and pick mushrooms and then bring them back into the hospital and try and cook them on his camping stove. Like, you can't cook those in the hospital. You can't have an open fire in here.
oh, wow. Yeah. He loved mushrooms that much, huh?
Yeah, I guess it runs in the family.
Do you love mushrooms?
Yeah, all kinds of mushrooms.
Oh, I didn't know about. See, we are learning already. This interview is a success already, Doug.
That's right.
I already
That's right.
learned something new.
I would say we could quit now, but I don't want to.
No, this is going to get better. That's a great story. Okay, so go on. So your grandmother was his nurse, your grandfather's nurse. He's cooking mushrooms in the hospital room on his campfire. Go on.
Yes. And I guess they just had some sort of romance happen. And my sister, she asked my Oma is grandma in German. We call her Oma. She's like, so what did you see in Opa? Like, why did you fall in love? And she said something like, well, there weren't many available men at the time, and he had a really nice body.
She was peeking under the sheets.
Hey, now.
Oh, that's
So,
that's a good story.
They got
That's
married,
nice.
and they had my father. They lived upstairs, and my Oma's family had a leather like purse making shop slash furniture shop in this really small town in Wittingen, Germany. And my father was born in the upstairs apartment. And it was really cool because in 2018, I took a trip to Germany, and I had only just a picture of the building that they had owned. And so I went to this small town, and I walked around until I found the exact building that my family had owned and where my father was born. It was really neat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like a pilgrimage.
You didn't have the address, you just had a picture and you went
Yeah,
around.
just a picture.
Did it look a lot like the picture still?
Yeah. It's now a hair salon, but
That's interesting. Have you ever done that, Doctor, where you've traced back to a house that you know what, before you answer that, I remember when I don't know what age I was. I remember distinctly and I think this was in Santa Barbara. I'll have to ask my mom, but I remember as a little kid, and I don't remember anything about being young, but I remember running to the window. My dad was outside in a Volkswagen, and I ran to the window and watched him drive off. Then an upper window, like in an upper apartment that we lived in.
Wow. Well, Google Earth certainly helps to do just what she did. And I've actually not actually been back to my childhood home back in Phoenix, but I've seen, obviously the Google Earth kind of stuff, which is kind of disappointing because, man, I'll tell you what, we had grass all over the place. I mean, up and down the street, there were no fences. I mean, we used the entire block as a kickball field. So,
Yeah, things change.
you know,
What did that feel like? Did you have chills?
yeah.
This is where
when
you
I was in
came
Germany.
from in a weird, your life started there in a way, a weird way.
Yeah, it was really profound, actually. And I called my Oma when I was in front of the building, and she kind of her hearing was a little bit hard. I don't know if she understood exactly what I was saying. Like, hey, I'm right here, where my dad was born. She's like, oh, that's so wonderful. You're having a good time in Germany,
Don't forget to pick
it
up
was really
the mail.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pick up the
yeah.
catalogs.
Pick up the catalogs and the mail. I think there's a bill in there.
Now, what is did your dad ever, did you tell your dad? Obviously, you probably did. Yeah.
Yeah, he gave me all the information that he could, and it
What
was
is,
he was pretty stoked I went back.
Hmm.
so he came, they moved to Canada when he was 7, you said?
Yeah. Yeah, he
So,
moved there when he was 7, and then they had 3 more children. His younger sisters who are twins. Twins actually run in my Oma side of the family. Like everybody's twins. It's crazy. She's a twin. Her parents were twins. My aunts are twins. They have twins. I feel like if I ever have kids, I'm gonna definitely have twins. But-
well,
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
you've got very beautiful eyes. Your twins would have beautiful eyes. You guys
Thank you.
check out our interview on YouTube if you'd like to see Kailee, and those eyes I just mentioned. So then your dad grows up in California and go from there. What were their lives like as immigrants? And
Well, so yeah, they first moved to Canada, and that's where my father learned English. And so their whole goal was to go to San Diego, actually. And my grandfather got a really good job at IBM and worked really hard. And then, or actually maybe the IBM was after. Either way, they decided that, okay, now we can go to California. We have enough money saved. They're going to let us in the country. And they said that they bought a new station wagon so that they wouldn't look like poor Germans, like on their road trip down to San Diego. And so they're driving down there and they're stopping along the way and having picnics and whatnot. And then they stopped in the Bay Area and they were trying to find a place to have a picnic for the afternoon. And they saw some pastor or something coming out of his church. And so my Opa pulled over and was like, hey, do you know any good place to have a picnic around here? And the guy said, yeah, Alum Rock Park is a great place. And so they started talking, and then the pastor told my Opa, like, oh, you don't want to go to San Diego. Like, there's way more jobs here in the Bay Area. You should definitely stay here. And so he's like, oh, yeah, maybe. And then they went to Alum Rock Park and they had a picnic and they fell in love with the area. And I love that story because I grew up near Alum Rock Park, and it's just like, I always felt such a connection to it, and go hiking, and just a beautiful spot. So it's kind of cool that like that was what drew like my family to move there in the first place. And so yeah, he grew up there, and my dad was kind of made fun of for being German. And I guess my Oma would dress him in kind of dorky clothes a little bit. Oh, I'm sorry, my camera.
moms dress us in dorky clothes.
Yeah, my mom actually knitted for me a
Sorry, Mom.
turtleneck, vibrant red turtleneck sweater that I would wear to school in grade school, along with striped
pants.
bell-bottom pants.
You sound like you were.
Bell bottoms. That sounds pretty neat.
I was going to ask, was it tough for being German and coming here after the war? Was there discrimination, or was it tough, or were they welcomed?
I think they were mostly welcomed, but maybe my dad was a little bit self-conscious about it. He did change he has a very German name, like his name is Reinhard. But in school, he kind of changed it to Richard sometimes. So maybe he was kind of self-conscious about it. I'm not sure.
Did he ever go by Dr. D?
No.
Well, okay, so we're going to take a break and we're going to pick it up from there. We want to hear about your mom and your dad meeting together. We're talking with Kailee Spark. We're premiering her new song, her new single. We waited for this. Kailee spent a lot of time on hard work on this and just made sure that it was perfect. We waited for it for a while. We've been looking forward to having her back to premiere her the single, Restless. Lucky you get to hear it in entirety. I also want to just mention on the soundtrack here that Kailee sent me the soundtrack. And now normally we would probably play all of her music. But she picked music that her father loved and that her grandmother loved. So I think the soundtrack is very special. And we're paying tribute and homage to her father and her grandmother that she just recently lost, and her family, her music, and celebrating life today with Kailee Spark. We'll be right back.
Okay, ready?
Yes, I am. Kailee,
Three.
you ready?
Yeah. Am I doing okay?
Great.
You're doing great.
3, 2, 1. You're live?
Welcome back to the Jeremiah Show with Kailee Spark, one of our favorite people. All the shows we've ever done, I just love talking to Kailee, love listening to her music. Today's show, we're celebrating the life, her life, your life, the life of her family, and learning a little bit more about her family. I think it's so nice to stop sometimes and kind of just reflect on where our parents, where our grandparents have come from, if we can, and thank them for giving us life. So, Kailee, thank you so much for doing this show in such a difficult time. But your family, they sound great, and I can see where you get it from. You've got a great lineage there of special people. So we were talking before the break, if you're just joining us, about Kailee's grandfather fell in love during World War II. They moved to Canada, then they moved to New York and up near San Francisco. Her father was learning to fit in as an immigrant, a German immigrant. Where did he pick up the love for Bob Dylan?
I actually don't know. I'm just guessing, in high school, and he was kind of, because he was born in like 1949 or something. So, it was that era of kind of hippie type stuff. And he was a pretty cool dude. He was into all the music, and I don't think he ever learned to play instruments, but he just had a really connection to Bob Dylan's music for some reason.
That was his favorite, right?
Yeah.
Growing up though, do you remember? Because my father, who passed away also in 2015, his favorite artist was Bob Dylan, and so I remember Bob Dylan for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner. Bob Dylan was always in my head. I don't know if I liked Bob Dylan when I was young, because I don't know if you like your parents' music, but I did like a lot of my dad's music, and I love Bob Dylan now. So it's, when I hear a song, it brings me back. What was it like in your house? Was it Bob Dylan all the time, and what other musicians?
No, actually, it wasn't Bob Dylan all the time, because whenever he would play it, my sister and I would be like, ew, this guy again.
That's probably what I was doing too. Ooh.
We thought it was like his voice is so bad. Like, why are you listening to that? Like, we didn't get it. And now that I'm an adult, I like it. It's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess it's normal for kids not to like their parents' music.
Yeah,
Thought it was so dorky.
What did you like? Do you remember that your parents played? What did your mom like?
She liked classic rock a lot. She'd always play that, and I kind of liked it a little bit. But usually, my parents were pretty cool. Whenever they'd drive us around in their minivan, they'd let us play our CDs. So, NSYNC and Jewel and Hanson.
Hanson. You were a Hanson?
They're pretty patient.
Oh, now I know that one. You're in trouble. I'm playing that on your next interview. Hanson. Okay, so how did your dad and your mom meet?
Well, they went to the same high school, but they knew each other kind of, but not really. My mom would always joke about how he was such a dork. She's like a year or two older than him, and she's like, yeah, he was such a little dork, but then he got into swimming. He got into swimming and water polo, and I guess he got a little bit more filled out and buff, and then all the girls were swooning over him, and he got a full ride scholarship to BYU. Actually, my dad's not even Mormon, but he decided to go there because of having a full scholarship due to water polo and swimming. And my mom is actually Mormon. So they went to the same college, and then they kind of knew each other in college, but they actually didn't get together until they were both like 30 something, after they had both been married and divorced already.
Two other people.
Yeah. Yeah, to other people.
They kind of rediscovered each other.
Yeah, they rediscovered each other through some friends, and I guess it was just meant to be. And then they married almost 40 years.
Wow.
Long time.
I love when I hear stories like that of people that have been married that long, because that's my mom and dad were married, I think, I'm gonna get it wrong, but probably 45, I believe.
My
And I
folks,
know
yeah, my folks just celebrated 66.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
I couldn't celebrate a 50th anniversary if I got married tomorrow or 10 years ago.
Hey, I'm
I
lucky.
couldn't make it.
I
Darn
think
it.
you and
That's on the cards for me.
Yeah, you and I, we're lucky that we are able to celebrate our 50th birthdays,
Yeah.
let alone 50 years married.
I never thought I was gonna make it past 30. I'm like a rapper.
Oh, man.
You want me to take a break again?
Yes, I do.
Well, we'll take a break.
All
Is
right.
that okay with you, Kylie? Should we take a break? I don't want to take a break.
I don't want to take a break.
We'll
Okay,
well,
take a break.
when
We'll
we
make it
take a
real
break,
quick.
we get to still hang out with Kylie. You, the radio listener, you're going to have to wait a couple minutes. But in the meantime, you will first look forward to Restless, Kylie's new single. It's awesome. We're going to talk about the inspiration. It's just like Kylie. It's interesting. It's intriguing, the storytelling in Restless. So look forward to that coming up at the end of the show here. It's climbing up the charts, by the way, I noticed today. It's my number one on Radio Envy Alliance, my selection of top 10. I put it at number one, my selection, and it's out there right now. It's been played on hundreds of radio stations, so congratulations on that. You're going to get to hear it here in a moment. What else did I want to say? Where do we buy that? Where should they go pick that up? I mean,
You can go to KaileeSparkMusic.com, and it will have links to anywhere you can buy it, like on Bandcamp, or if you prefer iTunes or Amazon Music, or you can, I guess bandcamp.com/Kailee Spark.
okay.
That's Kailee Spark.
The reason her last name is Spark is because when you put her music in your are there still CD players? When you play her music,
There are a few.
your radio, your iPhone, whatever, it sparks.
It sparks.
It's actually not wide Spark.
No, well, I'm just it's what I came up with. I know it's not. You can tell us. I love how she just corrects me. You can come on, Kylie, just let me lie a little bit.
Okay, go ahead. Lie.
But no, I want actually. Okay, so now I want to hear about the song. I want to hear about why your last name is Spark and all that. So don't forget, before we let everybody go, we're gonna find out. I know, Richard, you want me to take a break? All right. Well, here's the original soundtrack, picked by Kylie for her father, for her grandfather. You're listening to. Let me tell you what you're going to listen to now. We're going into what break? Second break?
Second one.
Second break.
Yeah.
Break two, I believe we're going. This is Blowing in the Wind by Bob Dylan. We'll be right back.
All right, here we go. Number 3. In 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to the Jeremiah Show. Did you ever see that movie? It's an amazing movie by Cameron Crowe, Elizabethtown, and kind of the situation we're talking about today. The guy invents a shoe for Nike. He's working for Nike, and it's the worst shoe ever. Nike, it almost puts Nike out of business. And he flies home, so he's trying to commit suicide the whole way. And he meets a great girl, and he creates a soundtrack. And he drives back across country because he's always wanted to do that. And it's got great music, and he puts on some headphones and he stops. She directs him what to do with each song. He pulls off. And he listens to, I don't remember the song, but she tells him to dance with one hand in the air and listen to this music and just dance and be free or whatever. That's what I think of when I listen to a Kailee Spark song. I don't dance, and so I went out, but I'll pull off the road and I'll dance with one hand in the air and one foot in the air and hop around. Kailee Spark is our special guest today. Welcome back, Kylie. I'm a big dork too, by the way, so what's wrong with dorks?
Nothing.
Yeah, come on.
Dorks make the world go round.
I believe so. Okay, so why is it Spark?
Well, Spark, so it's my music name, but it's actually the English translation of my real last name,
Oh, I didn't know that.
just German name. It's German for spark.
I love that.
Yeah.
Great. And Kylie, is there a reason for Kylie? That's your that's your name,
That's
sorry.
just my name. That's my name.
That's just my name. Okay, so your mom and dad have met. Now there's Kylie Spark in the world. What was your
Yeah.
childhood like? Were you
It was a great childhood,
yeah?
I have to say. We grew up in the house that my Oma and Opa had purchased. Uh, it was, I think, the second house they got when they had first moved to California. The first one they actually ended up selling because my father's little sister passed away when she was 6 or something, and it made my Oma really sad. And so she wanted to have like a fresh start in a new house. And so they bought this place, and then my parents ended up buying it from them, and that's where I grew up. And it's just kind of cool because after my dad died, and we're going through all these old photos and stuff, and I didn't even really think about how my dad actually grew up in that house from like the age of 13 or something, and my aunts, and there's just all these pictures of spots in the house. I'm like, wow, there's so much history here, and I'm so glad that it's still in the family. So my sister and I grew up there, and has a big backyard. We play in the backyard, climbing trees, getting into mischief.
You?
Seriously? That's
Wh-
hard to believe.
Why did you have a cantaloupe in your jacuzzi?
Yeah. It's been eating away at you
I
ever
love
since you
cantaloupe.
mentioned it, huh?
You love cantaloupe. Okay, that's a good answer.
I
Hey.
take all my meals in the jacuzzi.
I see.
I'm serious.
No,
Like,
she does not get breakfast in bed. She gets breakfast in the
The
jacuzzi.
jacuzzi. I told you
yeah.
she's an original.
You know, you could actually, well, no, the water would be too hot. I was going to say you could actually boil some hard-boiled eggs in the jacuzzi,
Oh,
but
gross. Oh man, that's gross. Kylie, your sense of humor really, it's pretty, you never see it coming. You know, you'll be just and then all of a sudden, whack, she's got it.
Yeah.
She says something that just, she's way too sharp for one.
Yeah.
You know, so
I learned from my dad.
yeah. So let's tell dad jokes. What was your favorite dad's
Dad
joke?
joke.
Did he have dad jokes? I've got a couple. I'm not a dad.
No, his jokes weren't really dad jokes. They were actually funny.
Okay. Can you tell one of them? Or are they too blue?
No,
for-
they're just he just would say random witty stuff like out of nowhere, and like he was kind of like, I'm a lot like him. He's introverted, but still can be friendly and stuff to people. And at his funeral, the thing everybody said was like, he was just so funny. Like he's
Yeah.
kind of quiet, but when he says something, it just like makes everybody crack up.
Mhm.
So, well, I aspire to be like that.
Yeah.
Like kind of like it. But any humor that I have, I got mostly from my dad.
I
I'm
mean,
also funny too, but
I think you've got two of the most powerful traits that I admire in a human being. And one is that you can write, create, and
Mhm.
produce music and put it out there in the world. That I'm not going to get into I do it every show. Well, how do you do that? But the second thing is humor. And making someone smile, making
Oh,
someone
yeah.
feel good.
Yeah.
That's a gift, and I think it's so great.
Yeah. Some people can just walk into a room and everybody just starts to laugh.
Yeah. What else did they say about your dad or your grandmother? Yeah. Are you laughing at me?
No, no,
You laughing at me?
no. You talking to me?
Kylie, what else about your? It's interesting. The speeches, I know they're personal, but if you don't mind, what else did you learn anything about your father or your grandmother that you didn't know from their friends and people that love them?
I don't think I've learned anything recently since they died about them. Just they were really loved by a lot of people, and it makes me feel good that they were so well liked by everybody.
What are your thoughts on death? I know you have some thoughts and some ideas, and do you mind sharing?
Wow, that's such a vague question.
Well,
Well, but I've definitely been reflecting on it a lot lately since my dad passed away. And it's, it's life.
Mhm.
And do you have like a more specific question about it? Because
I
there's so
do.
many different angles I
Well,
could go
I
off
mean,
on
you
that.
have to understand that
And you don't have to answer. I don't know if I do.
after-
I just
yeah.
know that I thought that you had.
after this life, we all just go to the big 7-Eleven in the sky,
7-Eleven. I do have to say one thing that I've been thinking a lot about lately is how far removed in our culture we are from like the whole like death process.
Yes.
And I really don't like that. And I wish that it could be a little bit different.
What do you
So like
mean
my
by
dad
that?
died and then the funeral home came and picked him up like a couple hours later. And then we tried to like go see him at the funeral home and they're like, oh, sorry, like you can't go in there, but you can pay $500 and like have a 1-hour viewing. And so we did that. And then I also wanted to be there for his actual cremation, which nobody else did at first, but I was like, I'll pay for it. Like, I kind of figured my dad was there for everything for me. Like he'd go to all my soccer games, every school event. The least I can do is be the person who like presses a little button that makes his cremation start. So.
And you played music for him too, right? You played his favorite song.
Yeah, I did. I brought my guitar and went in there and he was there in his little box. And it was actually a really beautiful moment. Like there's a little skylight and the sun was shining through on his face, which was already kind of starting to decay a little bit.
Mm.
And my mom and I were just leaning over him and saying goodbye. And yeah, it was really nice to be able to do that. And I wish that I could have been there for more of the cremation. Basically you press the button and they go into the oven and there's a tiny little peephole that you can look through to like see what's going on. Mm-hmm. And I looked through it for like 20 minutes straight. But I wish I could have seen more of it. I know that sounds really morbid, but I feel there's something really sacred about watching that happen. And it was profound.
You were able to bring closure, weren't you, for yourself specifically?
Yeah, and my mom she didn't want to go at first to the cremation thing, but then that morning when it was happening, she's like, well, I think I might regret it if I don't go. Mm-hmm. I said, yeah, you should go. And she didn't like watch the cremation part through the little peephole, but she did say after she's really glad she went and that it did bring more like closure to her. But so I had this really crazy dream. It was the night after my father's viewing where like all the close family came and we're just like looking at his body and stuff, and which was actually a really nice kind of moment too. I played some Bob Dylan on my phone and tried to kind of make it a happy occasion in a way, because I knew that my dad would be like, hey, why are you guys all like sad? Like, what's the big deal? Come on, like give us a smile. And so yeah, we gathered around his body and then just kind of told some happy stories about him and whatnot. And then that night I had a very, very realistic dream that we were doing the viewing again. Oh shit, my camera went away. Doing the viewing again, and it was really just like how it happened. And at first his body was cold because they had just taken him out of like the freezer or whatever. But as the hour was going on, he started to get warm. And I could feel it in this dream. And then he kind of like let out an exhale. And I know that sometimes bodies do that when they're like getting warmed up because of trapped gases or whatever. And my mom was like, oh, he's alive. And I said, no, he's not alive. It's just, sorry, mom, it's just like dead body stuff. But then he like sat up in the cardboard coffin thing and started coughing. And then he was laughing and he looked at us and he's like, man, that was one wild ride. Let me tell you guys. And it was just so like, it really felt like it was him kind of being like, well, life was a wild ride and dying was a wild ride, but I'm still here and I'm okay. So that was really nice.
That's cool.
Beautiful.
That is really cool.
I love how you're remembering him, and sharing that with us, because I don't know, it's something to remember, somebody to celebrate their life. And I'm going to ask you a question, and if you don't like it, I'll cut it out. But you'd mentioned, I think, to me that you got a message from your dad after.
Oh, the text message?
Yeah, that it came through.
Yeah, it was so weird. So like, because I guess, sometimes Facebook messages or whatever, I didn't really have good signal because I was traveling in Costa Rica. And after he died, it was like an hour or two after he died, I got a Facebook message from my dad, and I was like, what the hell? And I read it, and it was like, most of it was just a big run-on like paragraph, because he'd always do like the talk to text thing, and it'd all be like, have all these like, I don't even know what he's talking about.
It's auto-correcting him.
But the last sentence was, well, all right, have fun down there, I love you, bye-bye. So it kind of felt like that was very serendipitous that it came through after.
Did you feel it when he died? You were, I think also you'd mentioned that you were sitting on the beach, or
yeah, I was on this beautiful beach in Costa Rica, and I felt so unusually peaceful, and it struck me too, and I was like, why just everything feels so nice right now, and like my heart felt all like full and buzzing with love. And I was sitting there looking up at the sky, and like I kind of felt like I had this bird's eye like perspective of life for a second. And then that's when I found out, like an hour later, that's when he had passed away. So I kind of felt like maybe his spirit was like coming to say, hey, see what I was doing.
I think it was.
Very cool.
I think it was.
Very
Kailee, tell us your father's full name and your grandfather's full name, if you don't mind.
My father is Reinhard Heinrich Funk. And my Oma, she's Irmgard Funk.
And we're going to play right now. You asked your Oma what her favorite song was, and she told you. And we're going to play it. And originally you're like, is there a better one, right? Didn't you say, like, really? What else you got? Edelweiss.
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 Edelweiss. Am I saying it right, Kailee?
No. Edelweiss, right?
Edelweiss.
Edelweiss.
See, you sing it.
Edelweiss.
Dr. D and Kailee sing. Do what?
I don't think I know all the words to it.
All right, we'll be right
But
back.
it's a beautiful song.
Restless is coming up. The new Kailee Spark single, premiering in its entirety, coming up. And you can get all of her music at KaileeSparkMusic.com, and anywhere else you want to send them, Kailee?
No.
Send them home. Okay, we'll be right back.
Okay, final segment.
Final segment, how many minutes?
We've got about, I don't know, maybe 5-6 minutes. Yeah.
Kailee, do you have anything that I think this is great. Are you feeling,
God,
feeling same, or hopefully? Mm-hmm. Okay. Anything that you want to mention that we haven't?
I can't think. There's so much like random stuff I've already mentioned randomly. I don't know.
Okay. You're good so far?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have to tell
How
you
you
that
feeling?
when I saw the song Edelweiss in the playlist, I'm going, seriously? Because I didn't know at the time. I did not have the context. I now have the context, and it's like, okay, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right, here we go. Final segment. Here we go.
Oh, I know what I want to talk about in this one. We're going to talk about the song.
There you go.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to the Jeremiah Show. With really, it's the Kailee Spark Show. She's back. She's gracing us with her presence and celebrating the life as it should be of her father and her grandmother and her mother and her sister. And it's a great conversation. We really appreciate you sharing a little bit of your life, Kailee. Now you're about to share your music, your passion. Before you tell us about the song Restless we're going to premiere, what's up with the frogs? Why do you tell us about the love for frogs? I love frogs too. I love the sound of frogs.
Well, there's a lot of frogs where I live and toads, and so it's just kind of funny. Like if I leave my shoes outside, usually I'll find a toad in my
toad.
shoe. They make it their little daytime apartment. Always got to check your shoes for toads.
Uh-huh.
Did you ever try to kiss a toad and turn it into a prince? Try that, see if it worked.
No,
No? You might have a prince out of your backyard. You have no idea, no
Yeah.
clue.
Yeah, just do me a favor. Don't ever lick a toad, okay? Just don't do that. Don't go there.
What's,
I have some friends who have done that.
Oh,
isn't there something? Isn't it a drug or
hallucinogen.
something?
Yeah,
Is there-
Well, and it's a toad that's only in like New Mexico, but there's the type of toad here is a bufo type of toad, and some people think that you can get high off of it, but it just is basically poison, so it makes you really sick.
Yeah, go ahead and try that, dummy.
Yeah.
Kailee is an anthropologist, which is so
Oh, wow.
interesting, and she travels the world everywhere. You were just in Costa Rica. Where are you going next?
I'm gonna go to Papua New Guinea in November.
oh, wow.
Yeah,
That would
I'm
be
really
awesome.
excited for
That
that.
would be great.
I've wanted to go there my whole life, and I found this really cool tour led by this archaeologist guy. Like,
Indiana Jones-ish.
what was that?
Does he look like Indiana Jones? Future
Uh,
Mr. Spark?
No, I don't think.
Right.
Does he have a whip?
Does he have a whip?
I don't know. I'll ask him.
Does he have a hat like Dr. D?
Probably.
Inquiring minds want to know.
The only reference to Papua New Guinea that I have is the leper colonies, but that was in the 80s from a religious program. I know the guy was not literally in Papua New Guinea because his address was in California, but that's the only reference I've got.
How much
What
money
else
did you
is in-
send? How much money did you send?
I
him?
didn't send him a dime. What else is in Papua New Guinea that intrigues you as an anthropologist?
It's one of the most linguistically and culturally diverse places
Oh,
in the
really?
world. Yeah, and it's not really that well known, but just the way like the groups evolved and like grew. There's just so many different languages and amazing different cultural rituals, and I think it's really beautiful and interesting, intriguing.
Mhm.
Well, I love the ritual that you just described to us earlier in reference to your father. I think that's a beautiful thing that needs to be a ritual, and I think that rituals and ceremony it's so devoid in America, in the West. You know, we don't have them like they do in other cultures, and I think they're so important. Is that how you feel, Kailee?
Absolutely. I feel really passionate about how rituals they're good for us as like individually and societally, and especially around death. So
Yeah, traditions and.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, to tell us about the song "Restless."
well, I was staying at an Airbnb, and it was a beautiful Airbnb. It was like obviously had been recent. I don't know why my camera keeps turning off. Recently remodeled, and everything was new and beautiful, but it's just kind of like a creepy vibe to it for some reason. You know, you just like get the chills, like. And so
You felt
I was
something.
staying there by myself, and like I couldn't sleep, and I swear I kept like, I don't know if I was tripping out or what, but like hearing like weird noises and stuff, and I was so cold and I couldn't get warm, and my imagination was running wild, and I thought, why is this brand new place being rented on Airbnb in this random residential neighborhood? Like there's probably some murders here that happened. My
Now
imagination
you're really going.
wild. I'm like, yeah, somebody was definitely murdered here, and then the family probably didn't want to live here anymore, so they remodeled it, and now it's just Airbnb.
Hmm.
And then, yeah, the next morning after a sleepless night, I happened to have my keyboard with me because I was working on music stuff, and the first verse came so quickly, and I was like, this could be a pretty cool tune. And
That is a cool tune.
then I just kept going, and I finished it in like a couple days. Finished writing the song, and I really like it. It's just weird.
Do you want to thank anybody that helped you with the song here?
Sure. My new producer, Keely and Cruiser. I really like how he produced it, and yeah, and Jeremiah and everybody's patience, because it took me so long, because I recorded the vocals myself this time. Usually I go into a studio and have them do it, but I wanted to try doing it myself this time, and it's definitely a steep learning curve for me.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
great. It's really good. Are you going to continue that way?
Yeah,
Did you like that doing that?
I do.
What's coming up next? I mean, I hate to put the pressure on you. You're just releasing Restless for us. Now, what's next?
I have a song named Captivate that's going to be coming out next.
Hmm.
Kind of a dark, sexy tune.
Nice.
I like
Or
it.
the-
If you
That's a
like it too.
there's a tease for you, a teaser
Yeah.
Yeah.
for the next single. Um, your dad's with you now. He's with us right now. What do you tell? You want to say anything to your father, to your grandmother? Any final words? To your mom?
Thanks, Dad, for everything. I love you, and you too, Oma. Thanks for everything. You guys made me who I am, and I'm really grateful for that.
Okay.
It's been a great hour.
I think we leave it there.
I think so.
Kailee, thank you so much. And
Thank you, Jeremiah and Dr. D.
all your fans, that have been patiently waiting for Restless, here it is. In fact, actually, your fans have probably had it for weeks now because we moved this interview so many times. But the rest of the world that has been waiting for a new single, here it is, Restless by Kailee Spark. You can find all her music at KaileeSparkMusic.com and on her social media handles. You can find it. Have a great week, everybody. Communicate, but listen more and evolve.
All right, we're clear there. And Kailee, before you go, we would like to get a voice drop from you, a little announcement from you, introducing yourself and your new single and maybe the new album that's coming out. We don't have no clue on that, but you never know. Basically, it's
Whatever
an
you wanna
opportunity
say.
for shameless self-promotion.
Sure. So I say like, you guys, this is Kailee Spark, and this is my new single, Restless.
Perfect.
Check out my music at KaileeSparkMusic.com.
You got it. And then end it with, and you've been listening to The Jeremiah Show, okay?
Okay.
All right, so.
Do the whole thing again and say that at the end.
Yes. And
Okay.
I'll give you a countdown, okay?
Sure.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Hey guys, this is Kailee. Do you need my camera? Sorry, I don't know why my camera keeps turning off. It's just like weird.
Oh, I see.
So that we
Ah,
can
yeah,
just
yeah,
do,
yeah,
I can
you're
send
right,
you,
you're right, you're right,
I'll send
you're
you
right.
just a video of you doing this if you want to use that in any way.
Yeah,
So we're going to
exactly.
go off camera.
Yeah, we're going to go off camera. We'll start that over again, okay?
How did I do that? Oh, there we go.
That is so funny. All right, Kailee, you ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Hey guys, this is Kailee Spark. This is my new single, Restless. You can check out my music at KaileeSparkMusic.com. And you're listening to The Jeremiah Show.
Very good.
I
Excellent.
love it.